Here are 5 signs that you need to hire a virtual assistant. When you're working and you're doing tasks that you know can be done by somebody you're paying $10, $12, $11 an hour, you need to figure out what you need to do. First one is, are you making over $100,000 a year? If you're making over $100,000 a year, you have to have an assistant. There's no reason you don't have an assistant. First task you're gonna give away, you're gonna give away the menial tasks, whether that's paperwork in terms of doing contracts, you're gonna give away editing videos, digital marketing and posting, you're gonna give away the tasks of tracking profit and loss that somebody's gonna give it to you. That's your first step. Second indication that it's time to hire an assistant is if you're missing your kid's game, sporting events. If they have a soccer game and you're like, oh, I can't be there, or oh, you're working late, or you're not able to get back, you need to give some of those menial tasks that you're doing all yourself to somebody else. The third one is if you go on vacation and literally the only thing you do is check your phone and you're on the computer, you're not on vacation, you're just working from a different location, you need to look into hiring an assistant, because an assistant is going to help you be able to take time off that everybody needs to recharge their battery, to get recharged, spend time with your family, and enjoy actually the fruits of your labor in terms of what you're actually doing. So when you're on vacation and you're at the beach and you're looking at your computer, or you're making phone calls, or you're not able to go to the pool because you have a webinar or a Zoom call that you need to be on, that's when it's a clear indication, hey, you need to hire a virtual assistant. Number 4, if you're paying way too much money for people to be in-house, but you can hire somebody virtually to do it. The biggest mistake that people make is they think you hire a virtual assistant and then you hire in-house. It's actually the opposite. Once you show that a virtual assistant can do it, you never hire in-house. To this day, one of the biggest mistakes that business coaches or whatever type of coaching program that they say they have, they tell you, oh, you need to hire your right-hand man. And that's the biggest crock of, you know what, that like, no. If you ever have a business coach and he says you need to hire your right-hand man, once you get big enough, say 5, 10 million, $20 million in revenue, you can look at it. But when you're at 100, 250, 400, $500,000, you have something that you know can be done virtually, there is absolutely zero reason to hire somebody in your office to do it. And if you have a business partner or you have your kids, because this is where we see it the most, is when people bring in their family to fill a role. So I'm gonna bring in my daughter and she's gonna be COO, or I'm gonna bring in my son-in-law, COO, to run it. They've never actually ran a business before and they're pretty much clueless. So what they do is they're always looking to bring people in because they don't know how to manage. Ends up costing hundreds of thousands of dollars. They bring in somebody who's really not that good because they have the Peter principle, where they don't want to hire somebody who's smarter than they are or who they think is smarter than them, and then you just end up losing money. So don't ever take that advice. Another instance is where you need to hire a virtual assistant is if you figure out that your employees are making way more money than you're actually making. So you have an overhead problem where you're just paying out too much money in overhead and you need to reduce costs, but you don't need to start doing those tasks yourself. If it's a $20, $25 an hour task, like, you shouldn't be doing it. You should be built to a certain level to do it. If you are paying out and your 4 or 5 employees are actually, you're doing work, but you're still the CEO sitting in the CEO seat, but you're actually working for free or as a volunteer in a nonprofit, and then your business is supposed to be a profit, that's where you need to figure out that, hey, it's too much. When we talk about hiring a virtual assistant, there are tasks that you do for it. So the first part is outsource a third party or whatever else you want to do. So that's where your accountant handles your bookkeeping, or maybe it handles your finances, and then you usually go to virtual assistant next, or you either go AI or virtual assistant. Artificial intelligence or one or the other are going to be able to help you, or do you need to hire a virtual assistant? That's how you task, and then there's 5 things you want to look for it. I do it. The other reason is like a lot of people, is you're generating leads, but you notice that nobody's called them for months, sometimes years. So you've actually got money in your system, actual revenue, but nobody's actually touching it. You need to hire probably a virtual assistant to call and just be like a customer service to follow up. That's what you need to do. That's how you know it's time to hire a virtual assistant.